what are you working on now to try to help either the commercial sector or our country?
I'll give you. Okay, so I work for several private companies in the commercial human spaceflight industry, and one of the big issues, obviously, I'm working on is the whole issue of NASA seeding these new capabilities to deliver astronauts to the International Space Station and bring them home safely, typically called commercial crew. NASA began the process of privatizing the delivery of cargo to the International Space Station back in the mid-2000s. NASA did it, frankly, very slowly. I have a lot of painful scars from that era, where NASA didn't want to just buy cargo delivery. They wanted to fund, new technologies or other things, and they just couldn't give up control. And it wasn't until Mike Griffin came in as administrator that he finally said, okay, we're going to go out and fund, some companies to go develop new systems for delivering cargo to ISS, and he put money on the table and started COTS. And we're now seeing that, literally over the next few weeks, hopefully be fulfilled as SpaceX, attempts its COTS 2+ mission, they're calling it, in which they're really doing two different missions together in one flight to safely rendezvous and then berth with the International Space Station and unload some cargo and then return the Dragon capsule to the Earth. But that's cargo. As sensitive as taking over any part of the human spaceflight program has been, having private industry take over any part of the human spaceflight program has been, the notion of actually carrying astronauts to space on commercial vehicles is somewhat controversial. And so what we see now is that after a few years of yelling and screaming in the Congress, there is growing support on a bipartisan basis for funding these development and demonstration flights of new spacecraft flying on existing launch vehicles to carry astronauts to the space station. And some congressmen and senators who were totally against the idea a few years ago are coming around. They're starting to see that it is the best way to restore independent American access to space. To do that now that the shuttle is retired, and we're making progress. And with Elon's SpaceX's flight later this month or next month, and then Orbital Sciences' flights later this year, and others, I think we're going to see more and more progress made. I mean, this is a very exciting time for commercial spaceflight. Because people are out there building vehicles, launching things, doing things, and showing that with a lot of help from NASA and the Air Force and other parts of the government where a lot of expertise resides, they're trying out new approaches and doing things cheaper and faster and more creatively, and demonstrating that, American ingenuity is still alive and well in the space field, and we can have a renaissance of space activity by involving the private sector as a central player.